Welcome back, everybody, to another Monday Mutant Madness. It's been a while since I've had a good chat on here to another Turtle fan, but we've got someone lined up tonight. And I'll just make sure I click the right button, because I'm terrible at pressing the wrong things on my computer, and often it just stuffs it up. And
ladies and germs, welcome to the Bobby Heenan Show. My next guest needs no introduction, so I won't be giving him one. Rumor is he lives in the far-off mythical called Australia, if it even exists. Which it probably doesn't. I can't even find it on the map, and I'm a genius. Just ask anybody. It appears my guest today has brought along some familiar backup, and admittedly, if I had known about those clowns in advance, I would have eaten all the condiments and small goods in the green room before they arrived, because those guys really went to town. What a disgusting mess. Anyway, my first question for this great Australian man is, how exactly do you...
oh man, I think we got hacked by the ghost of Bobby Heenan there for a minute.
Yeah, I think so. Oh man, I love Bobby Heenan, but he's not very polite. We'll put it nicely.
No, definitely not a polite man.
Mm.
But he did have all the snacks.
How are you, buddy?
Good, man. Good. How you doing?
Yeah, good. I knew I wanted to come and sit down and talk some mutants with you, and I was hoping to do it last week, but internet be damned wouldn't let me. But we're doing it now. We're doing it now, and it's going to work.
Attacked by the Foot Clan. That's what I heard.
I've got the biggest coffee I could make, and I'm here to talk turtles.
Nice.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oi, oi, oi!
So that's on.
Man, I love the images that you come up with using AI. There's a lot of AI stuff happening right now that is just it's spewed out onto the internet in recent times. But I wish it was
proper as good as this, but like an actual, but it will take years to learn programs and 3D illustration and stuff.
Oh, sure, yeah, true. But legitimately, I do enjoy your clips, your AI voices, your skits, and all of those sort of things. I think they're great.
They're just for fun.
Them. Well, yeah, well, good. I'm glad. That's what it should be.
Yeah, just a bit of a muck around. But yeah, we got the old Zay's all hanging out with the Canadian moose up there, the old holiday snaps.
Yeah. Adam didn't want to go to the bar. Adam famously doesn't drink. I don't know how famous that is, actually. But Adam doesn't drink, so I had to go to the bar and make friends.
Unless that's Adam under a moose head there, maybe. Who knows?
Well, he might be. You never know. That's one way to get away with it.
I made a few of these ones for... I tried to do Turtles themed stuff over the last couple of months, and I've slowly been just sort of compiling some of them, and eventually it's like, look, there's a few of them now.
Yeah, they look great.
And I've just been kind of saving them for show stuff. I thought some of them look pretty cool. So I really like the rock steel. I thought it'd be cool to use them on show-related stuff.
Yeah, I like the robotic turtle. Is that supposed to be Metalhead?
Yeah, that's right. That's this fella here.
Yeah. Looks great. And some sort of chameleon.
The two things that the computer art does nice is, if you like action figures, does nice plastic textures and also does nice shiny metallic stuff. So synthetic stuff that's not human, like these things, actually look quite good.
Yeah, I like them. I'm not familiar with the chameleon. If that's a...
He's on the Archie comics that in the 90s. That was like the Ninja Turtles tie-in animated book, but then it became its own thing.
Oh, gotcha.
So the comic ran for a number of years, but that guy only appeared in like 2 issues. But it was famously on one of the cover of the first 10 or so issues, that was kind of known for that. So they never made a figure of him, but he's one I always thought would have been cool if they had made a figure, so that's why I put him in there.
Oh, yeah, I think it looks great. I only ever read the Archie comics. I wasn't really reading any of the original run.
Yeah, I did read any of the original ones so many years later. So I had about 20 issues or so of Archie as a kid, and then in the last few years, IDW did collected trades, so I've got the complete like 70 issues or whatever those Archie ones now I've reread again.
Yeah, I still like looking at them every now and again.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah, we're going to have a look at a couple of some of the figures you said were some of your favourites from the early vintage line and whatnot. And I grabbed this image here just from someone's blog here from Comic Reviews by Walt. I think it's supposed to be Walt, but it's got Walk there because I probably mistyped that. So it's just someone's blog because they had one of the best images just saying some of the more expanded figures and stuff side by side because there's not many good Ninja Turtle websites. Like you can find great G.I. Joe stuff, great Motu stuff online, the Transformers, complete photo book. Ninja Turtles, there's no photo book. There's no complete website. There's a couple of sites which are reasonable, but the photos on there are probably about 15 years old and not really HD, and so there's no great equivalent of that G.I. Joe resource for Turtles. It just doesn't exist.
Well, I think that this picture really shows the variety and the colors and all the good stuff that got us hooked on Ninja Turtles to begin with.
And it does remind me a lot of the Motu, really, seeing all the colours. I mean, looking to my side here, look, I've got a stake mountain and wrestling ring and whatnot. A lot of bright colours and all that, but it's not obvious until you kind of see them all lined up together.
Yeah.
Kind of right. Because there was bloody sports turtles and horror turtles and Star Trek turtles and farmer. Yeah. Oh, God. Did they kind of like have a line? You didn't see all these guys together?
No, it does look like a complete collection.
I never had the Mouser. I was one of them. It had a wind-up gimmick to it. Actually walked because a friend had one.
I remember seeing them, but it was
too big.
Yeah. But at the time for us, it was what do we do? Do we pick a character or do we pick a mouse?
Yeah, pick the Mouser. No, not picking the Mouser.
Yeah, no. I'll get a character, thanks. Yeah, not that I didn't like the idea of them. I did. Like, if I was gifted one for like maybe a birthday or something, I would be stoked. Yeah. But if I'm picking out a character, I'm not going to pick.
I kind of wanted the birthday or Christmas Mouser, but didn't get one, and I think eventually they kind of went away, and then the new waves came out, so you couldn't get them no more.
Yeah. They were cool in the video game. They were cool enough in the
the Konami game. They like jump on your hand, and you're like,
sticks on the end of Donatello's bow, and he's got to shake it off.
Yeah, the animations are really cool and that, and all the Mousers coming out. Like the first stage, you're in the sewer, and you get the Baxter, pre-mutation Baxter, when he's still a scientist flying around that little vehicle and dropping Mousers everywhere. Yeah. And the way they jump out of the holes in the wall was really cool.
Yeah. Like they were great as far as low-tier bad guys to fight. They
brought them back in that modern game. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Shredder's Revenge. Yeah, like to look on the shelf.
Yeah. My brother and I completed that game one night. We had a couple of beers and we sat down in front of the TV and just went through the entire game. There were a couple of times there where I was like, "Oh, dude, I can't keep playing this." He's like, "No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna get it." It's
longer than I expected. I thought it would have been shorter, but they made it. It's at least 2, maybe 3 hours long if you play it in one hit.
Yeah, like we were able to get it done in one night, which was a good hangout. Maybe the beers didn't help necessarily, but we did eventually get
all the extended boss battles, and that really cool because you got Bebop and Rocksteady solo and then together like the original arcade game. But then you have other guys that only been in the old Nintendo 8-bit games, like the Bull Guy and the Dirtbag. They turn up as another pair of boss battles, and they were fun. And I really enjoyed just the boss battles. Lots of Triceratons in the later stage, as well as the Rockmen. But now the Rockmen look like the cartoon.
Yeah, I noticed that. It was a little bit of a surprise. And then you got to sort of go around and collect the what do they call the neutrinos? The neutrinos?
Yeah, neutrinos. Those little like
neutrinos
that doofus wear those.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got like little unlockables. You found like Irma's hints and other stuff in the stages that just unlocked like certain stuff in the game and that. And, but that was pretty awesome. The same, I don't know if it's the same people, but the same style. There's a Toxic Crusaders one that was coming out hopefully sometime this year. It got delayed from last year. And also in the same style as that G.I. Joe one, which I don't know if it's 3 or 4 players, but they're pretty much copy and paste, levels, side-scrolling, beat-em-up stuff, and really nice cartoony graphics.
I think because they can be a little bit cookie cutter, but I think what hooks you in is those little Easter eggs and little nuggets of whether it be dialogue or imagery that got you thinking like, oh, I remember that, and that sort of keeps you going.
Definitely some adult fans worked on those games because there's heaps of fun little Easter eggs in it.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great game. Check it out, kids.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go on to the next thing here, and you can tell us about some of your favourite ones in the vintage line. The first one you picked here is Ray Fillet.
I'm going to be completely honest here and tell you that my pronunciation of Ray Fillet was always Ray Fillet.
Yeah, it's Fillet. I don't know. I say it just changeably.
I'm sure that it is Ray Fillet. That makes sense, right? It makes sense. But I ended up just calling him Man Ray, which was the name.
Yeah. In the I actually call him Man Ray too, because in the comics they called him Man Ray.
Exactly, and I thought that was a better name.
Yeah,
because he was a Man Ray or a Ray Man or Raymond. Yeah. Whatever which way. Yeah, exactly. But he had the color changing gimmick. Now the thing about Turtles, which was also true with G.I. Joe, is that if it came with an animal companion or a little buddy or whatever, it all of a sudden elevated that character for me, right? Because it's a twofer. It's a 2-for-1 deal. You're getting 2 mutants. They didn't come painted. They came as little statuettes. And so we would use our own paints and paint them up. Yeah, those little critters. Yeah,
that's the modern one. So they are painted, but that's the figure style one where he's got a weird little sort of World War I helmet and dynamite on his back, and that's the comic book one who's an actual fish crab hybrid creature thing. So that one was a character in the comics. This one was just a weird random thing for the figure.
I do love it though. So we painted our own. Is the starfish also a sentient mutant? Or is that a part of the weapon?
Sure. I think it's just meant to be an accessory. Hang on, if we go over here, second, here we go. Scarfish, a ninja weapon with an attitude. Then Fish Sticks is the guy with the little dynamite, like the vintage version of that guy. I don't know why they made him a weird bomber character. It's quite strange. That stuff of the line.
That stuff sunk at the bottom of the ocean, I suppose.
Yeah. And the colour change gimmick, I was reading the back of the card there on the high resolution, but I didn't get a full one. I only found a little side bit, not the whole thing. And it said about you can do the colour change gimmick, and then it warns you about not leaving your toy out in the sun too long because you can destroy it.
Well, I mean, and I think you'll show later on that is actually the case, where damage does happen to it. What I liked about this character is it actually, number one, he kind of looks like a mixture of a superhero and a wrestler in his outfit, right? That cool belt, the little wings in the back. One of those two sort of things where it's almost a wrestler, almost a superhero, definitely a mutant. Another benefit that this guy had, and some guys have heard me complain about this before. It's not really a complaint, but it's a little bit of a nitpick, which is if the mutant didn't have 2 shoes, it bugged me. Right? If it had 1 shoe, it was like, why? And I think mostly because the idea of mutagen or ooze or whatever you want to call it, the idea of it was very simple in the cartoon and in the movies, I suppose, as well, in that if you are an animal and you get mutated into an animal man. If you're a man, you get mutated. In most cases, you get mutated into a man animal, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of these mutants sort of seem to be stuck somewhere between, not quite mutant, not quite man, and it's just like they haven't quite fully formed, and it kind of feels like it's unfinished. It kind of feels like it's not quite mutated. In some cases, it looks quite painful. But this guy had the benefit of not only looking cool. I mean, look at that smile, but also having 2 sets of flippers, which is great, and looking like a complete mutant. Now, unfortunately, at the end of my collection, my collecting days of Turtles, I actually took a pair of scissors to his ear thingies, and I snipped them off just to do it, and I'll tell you what, I regretted it afterwards. It was an instant regret. Instantly regretted cutting it off, but it was like I wasn't playing with Turtles anymore. So I just wanted. I don't know why I did it. It's so dumb.
I don't know. One time I burnt a battle cat, and we set fire to the tooth. And this was like 15 in high school. And I just burned right home. While my friend was homesick, I just went to his house to stay there. Went, fuck it, I'm not going to school today. I'm going to hang out with my mate. I set fire to the dog. We'll go like for a second and go and put it out again. And it just really fast. And it was in the garage. And it filled up the whole garage full of this black, purple plastic smoke. And we're looking at it going, we should probably take it outside because that's pretty dangerous. The whole head was inflamed, it spread to the body, and within 2 minutes, the whole thing was liquefied into a puddle. That's how flammable it was.
Far out. The battle cat didn't last about.
I have multiple different modern battle cats, so I apologise for melting that battle cat back then.
Oh dear. Poor battle cat. Battle damaged beyond repair.
Yeah, he's just a puddle of goo now. How do you take into something new?
So I think giving him just one sort of spear gun, and also and I think it is a little character, little ninja star character. He's got a face on him.
Oh, yeah, it does have a face. Yeah, that's what the people writing the card backs. I don't know who wrote them, but I know some of the toy designers were some of the same guys that worked on the Archie comics as far as the character designs, because they designed stuff for those comics and for the figure line that they used in the cartoon. But I don't know who wrote the profiles and stuff. But often it's like giving it to someone else who's doesn't really know the concept. They're just given the job, go and write whatever on the back of the thing.
Right. Well, I mean, part of the fun was reading the file cards back in the day, and that goes with G.I. Joe. And looking at...
The G.I. Joe Transformers makes some sense. The Ninja Turtles one, famously, nearly all the file cards don't match the characters whatsoever for anything, for any of the media.
They do go off on a bit of a tangent. They're a little wild.
People just have fun writing those, I think, because there's really fun wordplay and silly stuff in there.
Yeah, I like that. That's part of the fun. I agree. Great looking figure though. Brilliant sculpt. Great design.
I still never owned the vintage one. I tried to get it when I was a kid, never got it. I've been trying to get it for years second hand on eBay, but the prices are rubbish. But I do now have both the NECA and the Super 7, which is one Archie comic version and one big giant toy version of this one. So I'm still trying to get this guy. They've done a reissue of him this last 12 months, but it only comes in America you can get them, but in Australia you can only get them in a pack of 5 or 6, and it's about $150 for figures I already have, and one I don't. And I'm like, no, if it's on sale, super cheap one day, but otherwise.
Hi, Phil.
Yeah, this is Phil's figure here. I pinched some of his show back then because it was the best quality image I could find. I could actually get a good look at it. It's not faded too bad and all that. And
good on him. That picture of Ray on the file card, I like it, but he looks way more menacing in that picture than the action figure. The action figure so it looks a little menacing, but definitely has a big smile. Whereas this guy is grim all the way.
He's got the little turns at the cheeks on the figure right on the drawing. He's just like full turtle snarl.
Yeah. But still, I don't hate it. I do like the picture of it, and I think the weapons are appropriate. A spear gun makes sense. If you're going to incorporate a throwing star, then having a starfish is also perfect. Which I think they did with Michelangelo as well when he did the scuba gear or whatever, surf gear or whatever he had. Yeah, and look, fishy friend, just great.
Yeah, they had. This character didn't appear in the cartoon, but who was going to, and then the creator of this character was actually fairly annoyed because they had some royalties and rights or percentages or whatever based on the characters they designed. Because there's a Mighty Mutantes mini-series and Archie comics where he was a marine biologist and he's basically a pacifist who gets mutated by a shredder by accident and has a fight with Shredder. But other than fighting to defend himself, he's not a mean character, he's a good character. But in the cartoon, they wanted to make him another villain of the week, and the creator just said, no, I've had enough of this. He's done it to Mondo Gecko and a bunch of other characters who were good, made them bad guys. So he said they legally sort of blocked it and said no. Then they had to make a new character in the show, and they modified the animation model and just made a generic green guy without the headpiece and other stuff, and he's just called Ray.
Oh, jeez. I don't think I've seen that episode. I'll have to chase it up.
It's pretty forgettable. It's about, I want to say, season 5 or 6 or something, real late in where it's just a one episode cameo and totally forgettable. But yeah, got another special pick here.
So, Monty Moose, for me, I love the character. I love the colors. I love the outfit. The good thing about the outfit, up until one point, and you'll probably be able to guess that point in a minute, is that for the most part, his outfit looks crisp and clean, and he looks like he's properly uniformed. That damn shoe. So he's got, and I can't tell if he's got one normal human foot and one hoof, or he's got two hooves and one of them's just in a shoe. Like, just if you've got two hooves and one shoe, lose a shoe.
And the other question is, like, these one shoe guys, are they just absent-minded and they lose a shoe, or are they still, or does the mutation just bust the shoe right off their foot? What's happened to it?
Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, some characters, it does make sense why they might be a little bit disheveled or look a little bit uneven. But this guy definitely not. I feel like for the companion, he's got two shoes. Great, perfect. The little beaver guy. But yeah, the rest of that's my only nitpick, is that one shoe. You've muted yourself. No, I still can't hear you. I can't hear you. Is this a Bobby Heenan thing? Is Bobby Heenan trying to crack in on the case again? Hello, hello. We'll be right back after these messages. Oh, I heard you a little bit then.
Can you hear me now? Computer's being
cancelled. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Yeah, the computer drive's been weird. I just pulled the USBs out and plugged it in again. Because I didn't mute that. It did it by itself. It's been weird.
I'll tell you what else. That crackling sound that I heard before has gone away too. Yeah.
I don't know why the hell it's doing it, because it's got a completely different microphone they had months ago, so it's been good. But I was looking at the little guy, what's it say? Bob the Beaver on he's unpainted like all of them, but on the back of the card he's got like a painted prototype thing.
Yeah. I wish they all came painted, but on the flip side of that, we did paint our own, and that was part of the memory of it. But again, appropriate accessories. He's got a belt that you can remove. How great is that? Handcuffs you can use. Again, brilliant. A sword and a pistol. This guy's set to the max, and he also comes with a little critter too. Come on, how can you say no to that? I had to get it.
I like his card art too, like him versus Rocksteady, and on the side he always gets his mutant.
Yeah, love it. One shoe be damned. This guy made it to my favorite list. And I think, and I don't know. Maybe it was the hat that looks a little bit like Sergeant's Daughter's campaign cover. I know that they're not the same thing, but maybe that was part of it. He definitely, and the same with the Ray one as well, where he was going up against classic Bebop. I like that this guy's going up against classic Rocksteady. Yeah, look at those
exceptions. They kind of rotated who the villains were, and sometimes it was a foot soldier, or sometimes it was nobody in particular. But when they had decent art, them fighting someone.
So again, with his stance, I can't tell whether he's mid-walk or he has two hooves.
Yeah, or he's got the bent legs, like I don't know, like dogs and cats, and that with the extra kind of bendy joint area.
But another thing that is a nitpick, and there's turtle guys that absolutely love it because it's like, no, it's zany, it's mutant. For me, I wasn't really into it. But when you've got those stances where it sort of looks like the back foot is pushing off, like they're about to go walking, I can't tell if this guy's pushing off on his foot and is about to go into a walking stance. Sometimes hard to balance these too because of it.
Yeah, the balance is the thing.
But other than because he looks beefy, right? He looks like a big, bulky boy, and the only part of his uniform that seems to be a little bit out of sorts is that one leg. Everything else survived. But he gets a pass. He gets a pass because everything else is cool. And he gets a beaver with 2 shoes.
So no flippers like the Man Ray, because the bonus thing about the Man Ray flippers is that it lets them balance properly, which is rare for turtles.
That is true. This guy, you're getting your money's worth when you get this toy, right? And that's probably another reason why I didn't pick up a Mauser. But you get your money's worth because you get 2 mutants for your $1, plus you're getting 2 appropriate weapons for this guy because he's a Mountie. You're getting the handcuffs, again, appropriate. And you've got storage for those weapons with his epic, what's that, gun belt, bandolier, whatever it's called.
I like it with weapon storage.
Right? This guy's got it packed to the max. I love it.
Yeah, it's a very nice figure overall. And got a little file card action here.
Yeah. It looks cool there too.
I'm going to click this thing over here. Hang on a second, for the bloody menu. We'll click this right here.
Okay, while Monsoon makes a deposit in the little wrestler's room, I'm going to take a quick look at this figure of that wrestling catastrophe, the Mountie. Wait a minute, this ain't the Mountie. No, he's much too handsome. Okay, let's have a read here of this mutant weirdo. Portrait of Monty Moose, vital moose statistics, accessories, pack and pistol, skin and saber, Bob the Beaver, handy handcuffs and belly belt favorite food, pizza-flavored swamp grass, height 7'8" with antlers, brain weight, 0 toads at Ordodo 2135 metric tons. The Foot Clan can run, but they can't hide because Monty Moose is on the trail of justice, and he's tracking down all the foot fools who run west, east, south, and north. As a baby moose, Monty was separated from his herd and fell into Ooze Lake, a secret stash of Shredder's ooze. Monty's out to make sure no one, and no moose, ever gets oozed again. Packed with his pack and pistol, skin and saber, and handy handcuffs, Monty's ready to charge right into the Foot Clan. And with the aid of Bob, his trusty beaver sidekick, Monty is fresh on the trail of crime. This mutant moose meanders through the thick of the woods, stalking and tracking anti-turtle terrorists. And with Beaver Bob alongside, Monty is one moose who always gets his mutant. Kids, as long as we stay out of Canada, we will probably be fine. Or my name isn't Bobby the Brain Heenan. Now back to XAZ'S in the studio.
Got your handy handcuffs?
Handy handcuff. The good thing about Monty Moose is that he does come with that beaver sidekick. And who doesn't want a good beaver by their side, right?
Yeah. Appropriately enough, named Bob.
Bob the Beaver.
Yes, you can.
Oh, man. But yeah, that card art also looks very, very good.
I quite blurry because how much I blowed it up. It was the best image I could find. It was quite small.
It's all right, mate. I think it looks fine, just fine. And thanks to Bobby Heenan for reading that out the best he can. I know that for him reading is difficult, so thanks, Bobby.
There's a challenge. He's more too busy managing people to be reading strange things. But next XAZ'S pick for another cool figure from the line was the old Krang android body, which Krang came in the Bubble Walker and also the android body.
Mm-hmm. So we had the Bubble Walker first in our collection, and then later on I was able to get the big android body with Krang in the box. And that same day, my brother got an MC Hammer doll. Right, MC Hammer was big at the time. The MC Hammer doll came with the box. Yeah, it was huge. It came with a cassette tape. Remember those, kids?
Oh wow!
And
I only had the bootleg of MC Hammer tape.
So we were we went to the shops. I picked out what I wanted, which was Krang. I thought this was great. Best pickup I've ever had in a long time as a kid. I felt pretty special getting it. But I had to go and visit a friend, right? So I was like, can you take this home? I said to my mum and my brother, can you take this home for me? I will come back, obviously, because I live there, and I will come back and play with my toy at a later time. I don't know why I didn't just take it with me. It would have been safer. Anyway, I come back from my play date. I come home, and my brother is playing with it out of the box, and he goes, oh, look, I stickered it for you. So he'd taken it out of the box, applied all the stickers for me, right, and then was playing around with it. So now I'm coming home to essentially what is no longer a new, fresh toy. I'm coming into a played with toy For all I know, the stickers were already on it. I don't know. I never opened it.
Did you put them on the right way?
Oh, no. Like, I think it was... have you got brothers?
I've got a brother and sister younger than me. Yeah.
Tell you what, when you've got brothers, they were pretty close in age to me. They still are. I keep getting older, and they keep catching up. But when you got brothers, right, they come up with all sorts of excuses to touch your stuff. And him opening it up just to claim he was putting the stickers on for me. Now, I don't like to do stickers at the best of times, but part of the fun of a toy is opening it out of the box, figuring it out, playing with that toy, and then getting handed a toy that was already opened is like, took away some of the magic of it. Took away some of the magic. Still, great toy, though. Excellent toy. Hours of fun.
Yeah, I always like the Krang android body. It's a weird thing because it's like a sort of like 50s robot kind of mixed with like a sumo wrestler or something, or a big baby, or a giant baby at a time.
I don't know why they chose that outfit. It's like red socks, red jocks, red gloves, and a little bit of yellow trim. Done. Get out. Walk outside with that. No one's going to notice.
I like in the original show had like a pilot thing of a mini series of a few episodes that played in prime time, and that he grew to like gigantic kind of King Kong size and was towering over the buildings. It was cool. And then his cool boss fight in the video games too.
He had all sorts of tricks up his sleeve. It was like Inspector Gadget in the Turtle world.
Yeah, the big flail and mace and everything, and throwing rockets at his hands.
And the final boss in a lot of Turtle games.
Yeah, and a bunch of them. It's cool. But yeah, here we got the on the right they did an early release Krang, which was about 5 or 6 inches with the regular line, and then a couple of years later they did the big giant version that the Bubble Walker Krang could fit inside. So it's just showing the size comparison there. And best image I found was Retro MD channel on YouTube because I couldn't find any good stuff. So I pinched this out of the video and pulled out the background just to get a comparison.
I did not anticipate that the size was going to be that extreme in the differences.
Yeah, it's so different. And I'll wind back a second back to the beginning because here we can actually see him on the shelf up that top right corner there and see the difference. His feet are on the ground, so you can see Bebop and Shred in front of him. He's like 1, 2, 2.5, nearly 3 Bebops tall. But Bebop is hunched over.
There's three layers of figures there, and he towers over all of them.
Yeah. So it's pretty impressive how big they've made that. He's basically like a vehicle or a playset size compared to the other figures.
Yeah, true. So mine came in a box. I'm not sure if there was any variation on that. Pretty sure it was all just enclosed. But yeah, just a brilliant toy. And while Todd was playing with MC Hammer, I was having a good old time with Krang in the Ninja Turtles. But that bubble
see a Krang with some hammer pants,
right? I mean, he needs some pants. I do like the original Walker as well, though.
Yeah, I've only got the reissue one last year because it's another one I never had as a kid. But I got to see nearly all the first 2 or 3 waves a friend had, so I got to play with them at his house and at least see them out of the packages. But I never had the Walker. Chased it for years and finally got a reissue one, which is fairly decent and not as demented as some of the other reissues. Like I've got the reissue Raph next to me here, and the green. My lights are terrible here, but the green on that is like really chalky and almost lime compared to the dark green of the original one, which I still have.
I thought they did the reissue of Bebop Dirty.
And his face looks really strange and the off colors.
Really bad.
Yeah.
But I guess it gives you some variation in your Bebops, I guess. But still.
And they've reissued them quite a bunch since post-year 2000. Like the Bebop, Rocksteady, and the 4 Turtles, they've done 3 or 5 times in the last 20 years. Like there's a whole bunch of reissues.
I think everyone's got them now. Anyone that wants them has them.
Yeah. And you can still get them second out on eBay all day anyway. Like sometimes they're missing hands and stuff, but if you're retro tinker, you can fix them up.
That's right. Genius.
But yeah, because Krang was in different releases, he got multiple file cards too. They're quite different. I'm not going to read them out, nothing, but I'm just showing for comparison. Different. It's funny, you get artwork on the Bubble Walker, but then the big other Krang, they just like stuff it or just take a picture of the toy. We can't be bothered drawing any artwork for this one.
Well, that is weird because I'm almost certain, I could be wrong, but I thought that the box had all artwork. Like it was just all artwork.
I think there's three because this. I think that's the file card from the smaller one, and then there'll be.
Okay.
I couldn't find any images for the big Krang, any kind of packaging or anything at all online. Like nothing. I couldn't find a single image. Only the actual figure itself.
Yeah, right.
But there's a close up of the Krang Bubble Walker.
Yeah,
he looks his art looks quite cool.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
so his height without body.
Yeah, without a body. Yeah, and they never really have a definitive kind of story about what the hell Krang really is. I mean, they say he's an exiled warlord from Dimension X, but what did he ever have an original body, or is a brain that grew a face, or it's always weird.
His favorite saying is a bit weird. Home is where you hang your hat. He's not known for his hat. Just crazy. Put a hat on.
Yeah, they had fun making up this kind of nonsense in there.
Yeah, it's part of the fun.
And that's the Android body one, so it has a completely different profile thing, but it's more just kind of expanded different stuff going on about this, that, and the other. And
did you have
weapons?
Can you go back through the Krang slides just for a moment?
Yeah, yeah. To the figure.
No, just from the beginning to where you first showed them.
Yeah, I'll go right back. Hang on. So that was the smaller one. That's like one's about 5-6 inch.
So he's not even pictured on that card. It's all just the turtles.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they go if because he was reissued a couple of times in the original line, not like modern reissues. So I don't know if that was why the card's different. Because in the later 90s ones, when they redid a figure from an earlier year, often they would use a generic art card. They use quite a few generic ones. Because I think I don't know, but I'm guessing because when they use that original art that's got, say, Monty Moose versus, I don't know, Bebop or Rocksteady, I think they actually have to pay a small royalty to the original artist. That will be my assumption about why they go to these generic cards and later wave releases and that.
Yeah, well, at least it looks like the turtles battling Krang here.
Yeah.
The Android
looks like the turtles, not like some of the other later cards have really horrific turtle art that's pretty bad.
Yeah, these guys are good. Yeah, but the box was just a typical rectangle box from what I can remember. I couldn't tell you what it looked like when you opened it because I didn't get to do that. But
yeah, so I don't know if he came in like an open box or a closed box, like because the giant sized turtles came in the window box, like, you know, giant sized Mike and giant sized Don. They had the window box.
I don't think that was the case for mine. I think it was just a straight, a flat box that you couldn't see in, and it had art all over the front of it of the Android body.
It was a bootleg toy. No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
I've never seen it like then or now, so I've got no idea, and I couldn't find a single image reference to the packaging or nothing.
If I can find,
I try and find anything I can about, you know, information about stuff.
I'll take a look, see if I can find something. Maybe I've got an old photo of it.
But yeah, I couldn't find nothing for the packaging for that guy.
Did it really exist?
Did it really exist? It's a Mandela effect.
That's it.
It's all a dream.
Nothing is real.
I'm pretty jealous he got to have a cool big Krang figure anyway.
Yeah, I loved it. I also really
in my life, and now I've got like 3 or 4 different ones from the modern lines in the last 2 years, but still you kind of crave that original thing.
Yeah. So I was looking at Phil's Instagram recently, and I saw that he had the Bebop that you could transform into human or mutant. I had that one. They inaccurately made him Caucasian, which was, couldn't get away with that these days. But he was my favorite. I never made him human anyway, but he was my favorite version of Bebop, which was probably early on one of my favorite bad guy mutants.
Yeah, I always loved them both. Like they had because Rocksteady was like the chunky guy who was like white with blonde hair, and then Bebop was like a skinnier black guy with the mohawk. And the punk outfit, of course.
The action figures did not reflect that. It was the action figure with Rocksteady was very thin.
Yeah.
Looks cool,
he was. He had the big elongated head, and he was still kind of like muscly and that.
Oh yeah. I couldn't take him.
No. And they had in the some of the early, not the main figures, but the other merchandise of that era, they had kind of promo art where like Bebop and Rocksteady would be wearing different colored outfits, and some of those recent BST AXN figures actually did some of those as figures, some of those alternate colors in that, which was cool.
Yeah, right. I've seen the video game color versions.
Yeah.
But nothing else. I'll have to check those out too.
Yeah, it was just promo art, like because they used it for, I don't know, when they're like a jigsaw or other other associated non-toy merchandise. Basically, they used a bunch of, because they reused some of that art on the Mega Block / Mega Construct stuff, and some other modern reissue stuff has got some of that promo art they used on it again. Because I just noticed it when I pick up a thing and I'm like, hang on, he's wearing brown pants here, but the box has got completely different colored pants on the artwork. What's going on? And then I realized it was actually a vintage promo art from that long ago, and I think they were just reusing it because it was cheap to reuse on a modern thing.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that happened all the time with the turtle images where they were just overly cartoony. Couldn't see those pictures. Wasn't a fan of that. A little cartoony is okay, but don't go all the way cartoony.
Yeah, when they did those Toon Turtle figures, their eyes are like bugging out of their head. They're creepy, man.
Yeah.
They're like turtles on acid or something.
True. Cheers to the Monty Moose.
Oh yeah,
Good.
I'm jealous you got to meet him apparently when you went on your America trip and Joe and whatnot, and you've run into a bit of Monty Moose as well.
Well, he was a funny man. The beaver wasn't allowed in. So the beaver had to wait outside. He was not happy about it. Yeah, I think that was what it was. He started just chewing on the outside posts while we were inside having a couple of beers. He may have even gone to hang out with Adam, who, like I said, doesn't drink at all. Still fun to hang out with on an evening. I want to preface that by saying I had a lot of great nights hanging out with Adam while I was having a beer. It did not subtract from the good times. However, on this occasion, it was just me and Monty, a couple of beers. He introduced me to some Canadian beers. For some reason, mine always had bits of moose hair, but to be honest, it could have been mine, right? It's difficult to tell. Hard to know the difference, but it was good stuff. And in actual, this final image on the bottom here, we actually went to the famous Canadian club. Where they serve everything except for Canadian Club. It was weird.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a crazy time.
That's a bloody outrage, that is.
Yeah, well, another thing that I don't know if you could, he was originally, because I was always, Gaz, I was just going a bit of a tangent here for a minute. Gaz at Joe Fest, he did a photo of the bunny ears behind me, behind my head. And I was paranoid that Monty Moose was doing the same thing, but it was just his antlers.
Yeah, I don't think it was intentional.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, but good fun. He knows how to have a good time.
He does.
He was surprisingly allowed in with only one shoe. It was weird.
Oh, yeah. He's that tall and big. I mean, who's going to tell him anything different?
I think it's who you know. You know what I mean? Like he's in the mounted police force. So
yeah. These got a few images here just going through some of the original characters in the line. They're mostly sequential, but they're just like we'll go through them, and it's got minus sort of all the variants and sports titles and other stuff. So it's basically a bunch of slides that have got the original cards without kind of repeats. And I thought it'd be fun to play a little game here. Imagine if like you didn't have any of these and you could only choose one figure out of this. What would you choose? And one to keep, and one figure you think that's a bit rubbish. I'm going to boot it out of this wave. Get it out of here.
All right. So I'm going to tell you which one I'm going to boot first, and it might be a little bit controversial, right? But I'm going to boot out Leonardo.
That's right. That's right.
Leo's getting booted, and I'll tell you why. Right? You look at Michelangelo.
Raph's the best.
Raph is the best. I was always a Raph and Donnie fan. If you look at Donnie, if you look at Raph, and you look at Mikey, they look appropriately menacing and mean and ready to fight. You look at Leonardo, and it looks like he's about to cry. I could never handle. Honestly, I cannot handle that face sculpt of Leonardo. It's almost as if they sculpted the eyes in the wrong direction. It just looks like it just looks sad. He's sad, and he does not look like he's. That's why in the movie, the song Turtle Power, they incorrectly state that Raphael's the leader of the group because they took one look at Leonardo and went, nah, he can't, right? So Leo is out. But the one I'm going to keep is like, oh man, I get to take one home today. I'm going to take my boy Bebop.
Yeah.
Just a brilliantly sculpted figure. 2 shoes, appropriately so. Great outfit. Just the perfect toy, the perfect action figure. I loved it.
Little skull medallions, cool.
Yeah, so cool. And the belt, the chain belt. And a lot of these details don't get painted on in the latest release. Like I don't think you can see. I think the boots are all black.
Paint missing a lot on the rare shoes. Unlike my giant size Super 7 one, they painted bloody everything. Terrible articulation, but the paint on all the little shell and the minor stuff looks really cool.
So I'll keep Bebop, boot Leo. Bye.
Yeah. Bye, Leo. You suck. You're the
Leonardo
Cyclops of the team. Get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here.
On your way. Get on your way. Okay. So I'm going to pick my choices, and then we'll go on to the next slot. My one's going to be pretty easy. You've already chosen Bebop, so I'm going Rocksteady because I was going to choose one of those two either way. So I'm going to go Rocksteady, so we've saved them, which I feel those are the 2 best figures out of this wave anyway. And then there's kind of a 4-way split for me, not of the Turtles. Of which figure would I boot? Would it be Shredder, or the Foot Soldier, or April, or Splinter? Because I genuinely dislike all 4 of those figures nearly equally, all for similar reasons. They can't stand up. They're stupid poses. Their faces are horrible. Well, the Foot Soldier's got an okay face, but the rest of them, their faces are horrible. Shredder had his eyebrows sometimes painted on a bloody helmet.
Yeah.
and it was famously like designed by one of the Masters guys. As far as the concept art, there's not so much, I don't know about the sculpting, but he chose that pose. Like, wouldn't it be cool if he's like a karate man or ninja guy? Sure, but make him stand up. Make him, and then you give him a bare chest as well. He didn't run around with the comics of the cartoon with a bare chest. He always wore something. Yeah, so it was just a bizarre figure. But I'd probably go with, I think I'm going to boot out, even though I probably dislike April and Shredder the most in this wave. I think those figures are crap. I'm actually going to boot Splinter out because he has okay soft goods, but his pose and the sculpting isn't terrible. But like Leonardo, he's looking like up, and he's like those bloody Snake Man troopers. He's only looking up.
Yeah,
he can't do nothing. And he's meant to be like shorter. He's meant to be a little short guy. Who's, if anything, he's kind of old and hunched over and looking down. He shouldn't be looking up.
Yeah,
and his eyes are real, just kind of creepy looking, and the teeth. He's nothing like the cartoon or the comic version. He's nothing like either.
He really looks like a rat.
No, he just looks like a weird. I don't know. He's a golden marmoset or a bloody bandicoot. I don't know. He just looks weird. And I feel like I don't think the soft good thing is bad, but I don't think it looks good on that figure with the plastic belt on top of it.
Yeah. So essentially, then, the great thing about this wave is that every one of the turtles gets someone to fight.
Yeah.
But get Leo out of here, and who'd you say, Splinter? Get Splinter and Leo out of here. Get out of here.
It is a recurring theme that of all the Turtles figures over all the years, Splinter and April have usually gotten the worst figures in just about every line.
Yeah, I agree.
They very rarely get it. Whereas Shredder usually gets post-vintage. Shredder usually gets decent figures in other lines. But okay, so this wave's looking a little better. So who are you going to keep and who are you going to kill? Sorry, I mean, who are you going to boot out?
Well, I mean, so for at least a good couple of waves, we had every single figure. So I've got some association with all of these guys. Although I think Baxter Stockman eluded us at one point. I don't think we actually had Baxter Stockman. I'm going to keep Leatherhead.
Yeah.
Because I remember picking him out specifically. He does have a weird hunched over look, but I don't mind it. He's got 2 shoes, so that's brilliant. He's got the articulated jaw, which is great. He comes with a trap that you can attach to his belt, which is also removable. He comes with an awesome, I think it was a shotgun or some.
Yeah, it is a shotgun.
Yeah. So I just love that figure. I just think that it's a good blend of animal and man. It's a good mutant. Plus, he keeps both shoes.
That's my boomstick.
Oh, there it is.
That's the
Boom
Super 7 one where he's all painted up. Nice.
Yeah, he looks good.
Pretty good. And guess what? He can actually stand up now.
Perfect. Yeah. I remember vividly.
You get 2 shotguns too with that version. It's cool.
So I got Leatherhead. My younger brother got Rat King, and my older brother got Ace Duck. And back then, every character had their own specific barcode. So when we put them on lay-by, we didn't have quite enough money on that day. We went back to get them a bit later. But when we lay-by them, it actually said who the character was on the receipt because they had their own barcode. So one of the receipts said Leatherhead, one of the receipts said Ace Duck, one of the receipts said Rat King. So we just sit and look at that receipt. Go, oh, man, I can't wait to get him. We didn't have to wait long, thankfully. Didn't have to wait long, so we weren't looking at that receipt for long. So I guess I'm going to have to boot one.
Yep.
I remember swapping. Oh, here's a story for you. That rock guy, what's his name? General Trag. Is that his name?
Yep.
So I actually swapped out a 3rd place swimming ribbon for this guy. This kid,
Nice.
I'm not body shaming, but he was a bigger guy, right? And I think he just really wanted something to take home so that he could impress his parents. And so I swapped it. Like, all right, yeah, take my toy and let me have your ribbon. And I was like, okay, all right, that's fine. Like he seemed like he really needed it, right?
Yeah.
So I got a turtle toy out of it, and he got a ribbon. So, but having said that, and as much as he's sculpted pretty cool, I just don't think that he's cooler than most of the other people here. So I'm taking him out. I'll see you later, General.
On your way to the pavilion.
Get out of here. Make like a rock and leave.
This has been a very interesting round because the figure you chose to keep, I was considering booting, but I might out of consideration for my guest, I might move on to my second booting choice because we like a good booting in Australia. And the one you did boot is one of my all-time favorites, and it's one of the first 2 figures I ever bought was Baxter and General Trag. And I can't remember which I got first. I got them about a week apart from each other in the same store, and I actually got them before the turtles because I went to the store to buy a turtle, and I picked up these guys and went, man, this weird fly, this guy, they got so much detail and cool stuff. And I looked at the turtle and went, there's not much going on with the turtle. I'm going to get one of these guys and get the turtle later because there's millions of turtles. And then I got turtles for Christmas anyway. So,
well, that's right. You're pretty much guaranteed to get a turtle, or 4 or 6 or 10 or whatever. And
this is the wave I kind of saw most in the stores.
I don't hate the sculpt of the rock guy. I like him. He's a good toy, and he's very well done. So if he's your favorite, I completely understand because it is a great. One of my favorites
because they bought him so early. Like I didn't really know the character. I just thought it was a cool toy. Like But anyway, I was gonna boot Leatherhead mainly because of that bloody posture, but I'm gonna move on to my number 2 choice, which is Casey Jones. I love the Casey Jones character in the comics, particularly in Raj, and in the later 2000s show and the live action movie. Elias Coteas did a cool job of Casey Jones, and they finally made a NECA figure because he didn't want to do the rights for several years, but the lady who played April was still friends with him, talked him into it, and said, just do the bloody figure. Let them put your face on the Casey Jones figure for the NECA one, and he finally did. But I was never a fan of this one because I thought it just looked really goofy. Like, why is he? His shirt's too short. He's got these abs sticking out, which does actually come from the original Mirage comics, but it looks really weird here. I think partly because of the old Motu bow-legged squat posture, it just really kind of throws it off, and this makes him look even more straight.
I think across the board, the mutants get a pass because they're mutants, but the humans look a bit weird and off.
Yeah. The mask looks okay. The mask is the head is only, to me, the only real Casey Jones part of him. The rest of him is weird. And in the cartoon, they famously made him had a pastiche of like the Dirty Harry voice. Like, come on, Pops, come on, it made him so like hilarious to watch.
Oh, I kind of like.
If you watch the show now, he's a complete maniac. I mean, in the original comics, they play him up like he is a maniac, but he's actually more like, I don't know, post-traumatic stress disorder. He's actually a decent, good person. But in the cartoon, he's like the Punisher or something without guns. He's completely deranged. And when you watch it, he's got no off switch. He's just insane in that show.
Yeah, well, I think so. You're ditching Casey, but and I don't. But the outfit was the style at the time. Like that was just midriffs on men were just, it was common.
It looks fine in the comics because he's tall and thin and stands up, but in that posture, it just looks like he's, I don't know, it looks like he's hanging out on bloody Midnight Cowboy or something.
He's a little bow-legged. But some bangers in this wave for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to boot Casey because I still don't like that figure to this day. And I reluctantly did buy one a few years ago because I picked it up cheap. And I do like quite a few. This is probably one of my overall favorite waves. So there's a lot of ones I like. But probably one I'd say to keep just because it's going to be this guy, that gold chrome.
Oh, really? Okay,
the gold chrome metalhead. Like he's still, that chrome's still on there too. It's like, I mean, it hasn't flaked at all compared to some, I don't know, some other figures in that from the era that chrome stuff on.
I like that they gave him a turtle belt with a T on it. And I like that he looks basically like a Ninja Turtle but robotic. I think it's a great figure. Good choice.
And I love his light piping feature in his head's awesome. If you shine a little light in his head, his eyes, or the sunlight, just the eyes lighting up looks so good. And you can see his little sculpted in brain exposed in the back of the back of the thing.
Brilliant choice.
But yeah, I like him a lot. I like old Genghis Frog a lot too. But I love that figure, and he was fun in the show. But in the show, you had the 4 brothers, and they only did 1 or 2 in the line, but they were completely different looking. And not until decades later did they do the NECA ones, and now there's the actual 4 frog brothers.
That was one of the disappointing things with the storyline was that we didn't get all 4 frogs.
Yeah. Some people customize have taken that vintage one. They've done 4 and repainted them in the vintage line to be 4 different ones, which is cool. I've seen that a few times online from fans. Yeah,
I've seen that too.
Okay.
Ooh, this is going to be tough.
This is going to be a tough wave.
Yeah.
Well, there's one obvious one is the stupid Donatello, but everyone else is there as a proper figure.
All right. Well, let's just ignore Donatello then.
Yeah, exclude the Donatello. Got to make it harder.
What's the deal? What's the deal with this Donnie?
I'm not sure if it's the mechanical one or it's the storage shell one. It's like they did so many variants.
Okay. All right. Well, again, this is going to be a tough one. For the most part, people have their shoes. And so many great characters in here, like Wingnut and Screw Loose, Mondo Gecko, obviously Ray Chalet.
No shoes, but he has a big thing stuck to his foot, but no shoes at all. So
right, he gets a pass for that. Yeah. I wish Slash was a little bit taller.
Yeah.
And which frog
He
is that?
hunched.
That's
He is kind of hunched over a bit.
that's Napoleon Bonafrog.
Yes, that's one of the Frog brothers, but they were totally different in the figures compared to the cartoons.
I had that one and I loved it. Looks more like a toad.
Yeah, I've got him. He's nice.
So it's actually going to be a pick between Ray and Toad Boy. I think
keep or boot?
To keep.
Right.
So
if you're booting your favourite from the start of the show, I'll be a bit suspicious.
It is a little bit suspicious. So okay, actually, you know what? I'll start with the boot so I can think about this. I'm gonna boot the chef because I never really liked that. Never really liked him. He can get out of here.
He's actually a cannibal if you read his file card. He ate his own leg.
How many shoes does he have?
Well, I don't know if he has any because you can't see there, but he's got his accessory is a wooden leg, a peg leg like a pirate, and a pizza box. And it's debatable whether it's pizza sauce or blood because of the file card, he cooked and ate his own leg. He's a weird cannibal freak.
Well, he only needs one shoe then. No, get him out of here. Get out of here, peg leg. But I need to decide if I'm going to keep Napoleon or Ray. I guess it's tough. It's really tough. But I guess I'm going to go Ray just because he does sort of blend that mutant / superhero / wrestler look that I really like.
He can stand up.
Yeah, he's on my list.
Yeah. Now it's a tough way for me too. I generally like Pizza Face, so I won't be booting him. I generally like every figure, and this not counting that stupid Donatello in the middle. I mean, it's not a bad figure. It's just got the silly head on it.
Yeah.
This is a pretty solid wave, and honestly, half these figures are some of my all-time favorites from the line. So it's very hard, but I have to kind of to keep. I'm probably going to go. Keep. I'm probably going to go to Slash because they're one of my all-time favorite figures and all-time favorite related side characters. He's like a Raph that's more angry and kind of psychologically demented and traumatized.
Right. Done dirty in the cartoon though. The cartoon.
They made him just a complete bonehead in the show. But in the only actual proper story from him is in the Archie comics again, because that's where he's in the part of the Mutanimals. He starts off as a bad guy villain, but he's not really. He's just kind of misunderstood. But he actually teams up with the Turtles and helps save the planet, and then dies and sacrifices himself helping save the planet in the Archie series.
Yeah, right.
So he goes out the bang. But I'll go Slash. I'll keep. And for boot, let's see. I'm gonna go. Man, this is tough. I'm just going to pick one, even though I like pretty much all of these. I'm going to go Panda Khan, which I actually only just bought recently in the last 12 months, and I like it a lot. But just because all the other ones that I like, Triceraton, Wingnut, Buckman, Mutagen Man, Fugitoid, and Mondo Geek, I like them all just a little bit more, even though Panda Khan's a really, really nice figure in the panels and the sculpting on that. I'm going to go Panda just because he doesn't quite fit with the wave. Like he should have been in the wave with Usagi.
Yeah, true. All right. I accept your terms.
You're out of here, Panda Khan. He was another indie comics character. Only about 3 or 4 comics ever, but like Usagi is independently owned, and with permission they got to be on the toy line. So that's why it's not actually in the show or anything. They actually made a CGI animated show, but they made it like over a year ago and it hasn't been released. But I emailed the people that were working on it like a year ago. Is this still happening? And they're like, yeah, it's coming out. I'm like, it's another year, nothing. But they've made it. It exists. It's like a kid's show and it's 3D animation, all that.
Here we go. This one, again, I'm going to ignore the Turtles because it'll be too easy. Even though some of the Turtles. Yeah. I mean, they don't Donnie's get another representation.
Fireman and sports.
Space Usagi looks cool. So it's going to be a toss-up between the sumo guy to get out of here and who's that zany guy next to Usagi?
That's Worm. He's a flat worm. Also a cannibal. Or he eats anything that's flesh, really. More of a carnivore, I guess, but whatever.
Well, he's only got one shoe, but then technically he's only got one leg.
Yep. He's got a tentacle leg.
Right, but for some reason, he doesn't seem to fit in. He looks more like he'd be something out of Toxic Crusaders. So I'm going to kick him out.
Have that kind of look about him. And he actually is wearing a sanitation department uniform that's green. Because it says
there you go.
Sanitation Department on it.
Go hang out with those guys. Because the more I look at the sumo guy, the more I like him. Because his stance kind of does work for him. I like that.
Yeah, that's one thing. The stance does work for a change.
Yeah, for once it actually does. Yeah. And I guess, what was the kangaroo's name again? Walkabout?
I think he's called Walkabout. And he's actually standing fairly upright for a Ninja Turtle figure.
So I believe he came with a little a Joey.
Yeah.
Did the gorilla come with anyone?
I don't know. That's Sergeant Bananas. I'm not sure if he had a mini figure or just accessories. I never had him.
All right. Well, Aussie. I'm taking my kangaroo buddy.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, he's got the old eye patch and that. So I assume he's meant to be a bad guy just by the mouth and the eye patch, but I don't know for sure. So I didn't have him. But yeah, my ones. Let's see. We'll get rid of them turtles. And for keep, I'm going to go top left. The bull guy, well, originally it was called Bullseye, but then he wasn't because Marvel had a character called Bullseye, so they called him something different, obviously.
Right.
I still call him that, even though I tend to forget his proper name. And he was also, and he appeared in some of the NES video games and the toy.
I don't remember what it's called either, but it's probably Terrible.
Yeah, something like that. I always mix it up with other stuff because there's so many bull named things and toy lines. But
in the comments, tell us who the bull is called. Let us know.
He's a cyborg as well. I think because he's got the metal. I don't know if it's just external metal stuff on him or it's meant to be a cyborg, but something's going on there because he has the targeting horn eye thing as well. But yeah, I like him a lot. Worm I like too. He's a really nice figure when you see all the sculpting and weird stuff on him. But for Boot, I might go the sumo tattoo because I actually like the character, and he does appear he's another Archie Comics character. That's why he's in this line because he appeared for a couple of stories in there, and he was actually like another good heroic type character when the Turtles went to Japan briefly. Nice. and he is, he's a genuine sumo, and he had some really cool tattoos and stuff on him, which is why he's called, presumably why he's called Tattoo in the comic.
Gotcha.
But I feel like he just doesn't quite capture the essence of the comic Archie character. He looks like a bit too cartoony for me. So and I feel like if they had done the cool, nicer stuff on him, like some more like cool actual tattoos and stuff on him, maybe I would like them more. So I'm going to boot him.
I think his tattoos were stickers, right?
I'm not sure. Like I've never owned him. I've known about him since back then, and I knew him from the comic and all that. And I did want to get him, but it was just wasn't around. Couldn't get him.
Yeah. All right.
This wave is going to be probably. Do we exclude? Is there any exclusions? I don't know. Do we exclude the Aprils or do we keep them in? Because we got it. It's such a.
I'm happy to exclude Splinter and April.
Yeah. Right.
Because it seems like you've already kicked Splinter and April before. Let's not double that. We'll just ignore those people.
Splinter, who does look better than the other Splinter.
He does look better. I'll give him that.
He's got some eyes.
So, is that Mondo Gecko again?
As far as I know, it is because he's the only character that looks like that, and why he's dressed like a hippie, I don't know. But the head looks demented, and it's Terry Funk Mondo Gecko. I don't know what they're doing with that.
Is that a mutated Donatello in the top corner?
Where are we? No, that's Anthrax. He's an ant.
Oh, okay.
The top left is the bad guy, is an ant with the purple hood. He only appears in about season 7 in the cartoon for a couple episodes.
It kind of looks like an even more mutated version of Donatello from where I'm looking. I need to zoom in more. Okay, upon closer inspection, that does look like an ant.
Yeah, he's got all the extra limbs. And
all right, I'm zooming in on my phone now. That dragon looks cool too.
Yeah, he's another Archie Comics character. He was really cool.
The elephant I only just saw in recent years, maybe 10 years ago. I got one from my brother off of eBay, and it was supposed to be carded, but it popped off the bubble. I'm not a really big fan of that sea creature or that cobra, but they don't look bad.
It's called like this thing is called Merman or something like that, which is kind of weird because of Masters.
It's no raid delay. All right, I'm going to keep Monty because we had a great time in Canada. Love the guy. I'm going to boot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm tempted to just boot that Mondo Gecko because he's just doesn't. Yeah. He's not. We don't need him. Awful. Yeah, boot Mondo.
Makes no sense for this wave, but I mean, this wave is pretty bonkers overall.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go. We've already booted the 3 Aprils, and you have to comment on. You've got Cave April, and you've got Lady of the Night April with the actual soft doll here, and like I don't know what they're going for. I mean, I know they did Cave Turtles and Ladder Lines, but still, they're just pretty weird. The one in the middle is actually not terribly bad. It looks a bit more like the cartoon and all that, but it's not. If I had
to pick one April, I'd pick the middle one.
But if you look at it, it's not even a Ninja Turtle figure. Look at the sculpting and the arms and everything. It's completely different size, proportions, everything about. It's like they're trying to make a little girl's miniature doll or something.
Looks like more
it's
like
He-Man She-Ra probably all over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're already out. Flock Splinter's out. He's not a terrible figure, but he's not particularly good either.
No.
I'll go keep. I will go keep the dragon guy. I forget the name of. He was like, here's a cool issue in the Archie comics where he grows. He's actually a human, and he's like the Incredible Hulk. You know what the Hulk is? He's a human, and he changes into that dragon form, just like the Hulk. But he has an issue where he grew to like as big as a Statue of Liberty, because that's what's on the cover, and he fights a giant foot soldier robot that's a special giant one that's as big as the Statue of Liberty, also, so they can fight kaiju style of the cover. And it was quite cool. And he only gets for a couple of issues, but I never had that figure, and I always wanted it. It's a really cool one. So here's my keep, the dragon dude. I usually know the names, but I can't think of them when I'm sitting there talking. And for boot, I'm gonna go. Let's see. I'm not. I think that the elephant figure is a nice figure, but it's pretty random and nothing to do with anything. So it's either that one. I won't go the movie foot soldier because it's not really a bad figure. It's a movie figure that's got a completely different aesthetic, so it's actually not bad for a movie foot soldier. So I'm going to boot the Dr. Elephant guy, whatever he's called.
Yeah, he probably has one shoe on anyway.
I'm sure he's got bloody piles of busted shoes just to annoy XAZ'S hiding out the back.
Perfect, good choices.
And sorry, Serpentor down the bottom right. We're not even talking about you.
Nah, get out of here. Now, I know that this wave is pretty rare, and people talk a lot about how cool Scratch is, but, I mean, is he that cool?
No, he's not. It's just he wasn't cool. He didn't sell at all. That's why it became rare, because this was right towards the end of the lines, and nobody wanted any of these figures except for possibly the metallic chrome ones, obviously. Well,
I'll say this about the camel. He does only have one shoe. However, he also, the rest of his outfit looks like that he's been in a bit of a scrap. So it looks like
Indiana Jones or something.
Right. So it looks like he's sort of been scrapping, and all of his clothes are getting tattered. Is that an excuse? No. What's happening at who's the giraffe again? What's happening on the bottom of his shoe? What's he stepping on?
I don't know. He looks like he's stepping on something that they haven't painted.
Yeah.
So probably a basketball.
It's a cool gimmick. I like the net around his head.
Yeah.
The Dalmatian, like, that's a cool idea, but I don't know how well it's executed. You know, like if that was a way,
and dogs cannot look up. I'm sorry, but it's just, yeah.
So famously, dogs cannot look up. I think that if they had have sculpted him in wave 2 or 3, they would have done a way better job of the dog.
Yeah.
So I hate to say it, but Pooch is out.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, it's the I'm looking at the best of the worst here. The chrome guys in the back are okay. For Bebop and Rocksteady,
look a lot nicer in person. This photo is very blurry. The Chrome guys, being look like most Chrome toys look pretty good.
I'm going to give an honorable mention to Bebop then, because it's like cool and Chrome. But I think I'm going to go against my own prejudice here, and I'm going to pick the camel guy with the one shoe, only because he does look like he's pretty badass. I love the stance. I love the.
He looks like he belongs in the actual line compared to all the other ones that are just fairly strange.
Yeah, he does look more like a Ninja Turtle figure than anyone else here. Everyone else sort of looks a bit like a bootleg.
Like I do know that the giraffe, the cat, and the dog were all very early concepts that were just sketches and were put aside for several years because they were rejected as figures. And then when I ran out of stuff, they came back. So they went, oh, well, maybe we'll do these ones again. Because I read an article by the guy who designed them and said, I designed these years before they ever got made, and they were just total throwaway ones that no one gave a stuff about.
Yeah, it's almost some of these waves have been tough to pick one and throw one. Yeah. This one was like it's tough to just pick one.
Yeah, this is just like the leftovers at right at the end, not including all the variants and sports and vehicles. This was just right towards the end. Other than that, obviously they did some of the movie related ones as well, like this Shredder from movie 2 and the Tokka and Raza and that.
What's the camel's name? Humps?
I'm not sure. I should know because I did a bloody video the other week where I talked about these characters a few weeks ago.
Oh well, I'll go back and look it up. I'll watch that video that you did.
Skip to the end. In the scratch video, skip to the end, and there's the article. I've got actual scans of the guy who in an old about late 90s like action figure magazine like interview, and he talks about there's pictures of the concept art for them.
I did watch the scratch one. But for some reason I've missed the camel one.
I was just right at it's at the end of that somewhere. I was looking at it again today, like looking at from my own reference, trying to remember what the hell was in
it. Yeah, okay, who are you picking?
Okay, so I'm going to keep the metallic robot Rocksteady, which did appear in the cartoon, but it went metallic in the show. They were just cartoon colors, of course. Yeah. Which is why now in the bloody modern figures, NECA have done cartoon versions of those robot ones, and Super 7 are doing the more robotic ones, but they don't have the chrome because apparently they can't make stuff with chrome because they lie to you and then they make things with chrome.
Yeah, that'll shut them up.
Yeah, bit of a shell game, that one's shifting things around. But yeah, I do like those ones, which are very hard to get now, very expensive, but if you do get them, there's a fair chance that they're going to be discolored or blue or flaking because their chrome I think it's not supposed to hold up too well on those ones. But I'll go Rocksteady for keep, and I could boot just about everybody else who's other than Bebop, of course. Like Mona Lisa was, I forget whether no, she wasn't the cartoon because then it was a different one. It was Venus de Milo, I think, is in that live action Power Rangers style show that followed up the other because that was the next mutation was the new show media stuff they did years after this. I'm going to boot Scratch because he is not a particularly good figure. The only reason he's desirable for some people is that he was so unpopular and did not sell at all, and also it got made on relatively small numbers, being it was right towards the end of the waves, right towards the end of when the original Turtle line was winding down and people weren't really buying stuff. Also, a lot of them just never turned up in stores in the first place, as well as being small numbers for this wave, thus making most of these more valuable. But I'm going to boot Scratch because the vintage one is not particularly good. He's a bit weird. Even the guy that designed him admits it wasn't a particularly good design or thing. Even he's not a fan of it. But I do actually really quite like the Super 7 one they did because they actually made a much, which I wasn't even going to buy. And then I reluctantly went, well, I do like animals, cats and dogs. I've always had pets in my life. I do like classic old cartoons and cat and mouse stuff. And the Super 7 one, they actually took the concept and really improved it. It's a much improved figure. It's got a couple of heads. He's fully posable. He's not in a stupid looking up position. And his face, instead of looking blank and like I'm on drugs or something, the face now looks way better. And really, he looks like really cheeky, like he's like running away like I'm stealing things like a Beagle Boys and DuckTales or something. So they really improved on the idea of it, even though it was just a completely throwaway idea. That was originally going to be an owl. The original Scratch was an owl, was actually what it was. And then it got turned into a cat because that got rejected, and they went back to the earlier thing that was the cat that had been rejected, the owl was rejected, then Playmates were like, we need something else. Like, here's the cat again that you rejected. Like, okay, I guess we'll make that.
He almost looks a bit too tall.
Yeah, he's really tall as well. He's not squatting over. And the owl version that was called Scratch, because Scratch like claws like an owl, that could have been they could have reused the Ace Duck and done a new head and new parts for that and actually made something else out of that. Would have made sense. Yeah, which is weird that they rejected the owl when they had a buck they could have used from the early Ace Duck. Very true, very true. But yeah, I do like the idea of the Dalmatian fire dog guy, but like you said, they just didn't do it very well. If they did a better version of that, actually, if they do a Super Z version of that, that's fully posable and a better face than that, I'll probably get it.
Yeah, because there's a great idea there, just the execution isn't that great.
Yeah. And I'm not a fan of that. I was confused. There was Mona Lisa and Venus de Milo, the two different female turtles, various meter, but it's not a well thought out character, not a nice figure. I don't mind the character. If they did a better version of that again on a modern figure, I'd probably buy it. But I do not like that one at all. It's like some kind of turtle or something like smiling at you. It's like insidious.
Right. It is a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit off-putting.
Yeah, it's another one of those ones. It's like, let's just shove this random character in later seasons that people won't even know or forget about.
Yeah, not a fan of it, but again, no, there are worse ones.
Yeah,
but not by much.
Cheap, man. Like if I found it at the market for $10, I would buy it, sure, but I wouldn't pay like $50, $100 for it. Get out of here.
I'd vote this as the worst wave.
Yeah, easily the worst way. And there's only 8 figures. You can tell it's not after all the massive. I mean, these have been chronological. They're not exactly the waves because some of them had other variants and whatnot, but all the original characters have been chronological.
Yeah. Boo. Boo this wave. Boo. Except for the camel. He looks cool. Boo. Are you saying boo or boo earns?
I was saying boo earns.
I think the camel's the only one, and I do think the Chrome Bebop Rocksteady are cool, but I think the only one that actually looks like he belongs in Ninja Turtles is that camel guy.
Yeah. Well, they did some other variants that were kind of cool. Like, I mean, they did stupid ones, all the bloody sports turtles. But Bebop and Rocksteady had quite a few variants other than these. That some of them quite interesting. There's the 2-episode, what do they call it? Anime OVA, original video animation in Japan. So it's two Japanese only episodes. They were only made for Japan, only Japanese. You can watch them free on YouTube. They're called like Super Mutant Turtles or Super Mutant Turtles Legend, something like that. Ask Philator, he lives there. He can understand these things. But they went real Sentai. They gave them like kind of Wolverine Sentai looking armor outfits that went over the top of them, and they jump around and go and do all the anime stuff. But Bebop and Rocksteady mutate to yeah.
The first time I've ever seen it, yesterday. Put it on YouTube, watched it. Cool. I was like, I like it.
Well, you've seen the Rocksteady. Looks real anime. He's kind of green and longer ears. I've got the figure of that because I bought it like last year, like real cheap, and that's quite nice. And they did a few other ones. They did Mutant Military and the Bebop and Rocksteady, and that aren't too bad. They're kind of like a World War II themed Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, I do like. They're probably my second favorite out of the original ones. I think they look very cool. I like them. I like them a lot.
Then they had all the transforming ones, and I'm not a fan of most. Some of those look okay, but most of them I'm like, don't need it.
Like we had Bebop and Rocksteady in their transformation ones, and I thought that once they were transformed into their beast mutant mode, that they were appropriately sized to go up against the turtles.
Yeah, that's true. They were beefier figures. The Toko and Razo too in the transformation line actually look quite decent and more like the movie and stockier and bigger.
Yeah, let's get this picture off the screen before it makes us throw up.
Oh yeah, that's the last one.
Well,
Well,
don't end it on this image. Find something better. What a wave to end on. Ouch.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I feel bad for people that were still like super into turtles.
I don't think there's many people because, like, I mean, I was born in 1980, so when it started I think it was 87 in New Zealand or whatever. So I was like the right age, 7, 8, 9, first 3 waves. By the time those waves rolled around, I would have been like 14 or 15 or something, and I'm more interested in other things by then.
Yeah, I never really stopped collecting action figures. I think all I did was
I just started buying comics instead.
yeah. Like I got really into comic books, super into comic books. I think I kept picking up Marvel toys, but I wasn't collecting them like I was collecting toys as a kid, right? Yeah. So I would just pick up characters I liked. Like I had the Hulk, I had the Thing, I had Hawkeye, a decent Spider-Man. I didn't need all the Spider-Man. I just grabbed a decent Spider-Man for my display. So I didn't really stop collecting action figures. I just sort of put away certain
I had a gap. Like age 8 through 12, I was kind of getting toy stuff, and then probably about age 16. Well, it was because I was buying comics, and the comic shop used to get in these import figures and whatnot. And that's why I started buying figures again, because the comic shop had them.
So yeah, I found a lot of hard to get, and they were priced appropriately because of it. Hard to get action figures at comic book shops, which also helped feed my want for it. But comic books were so big for me, like they overtook everything. If I got to do creative writing in school, or if I got to do a project that I could make up whatever topic I wanted, I would pick something to do with comic books, Marvel comics in particular. X-Men, Spider-Man, Punisher, Ghost Rider. Like there was no, if I could pick up any comic of a Marvel variety, it didn't matter what it was, I was going to read it. I was a full Marvel fanboy, and thanks to Mum, I got to pick up a lot of these things. But I think having the action figures on display got to because I would sleeve all my comics and put them away neatly. And so other than
going to the shop, I had all the poly bags and all that.
yeah, that was the first time. I used to roll up the comics and put them in my back pocket.
My God, man. That's what kids do.
And then eventually I was like, oh man, I really should preserve these. I have none of them now, but I think that what I was doing is, other than posters, I was having action figures on display so that I could have a visual representation of the things that I was enjoying.
You have any like trading cards like X-Men or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, love them. It started with we collected, like, my brother still has those albums that you could slip cards into. Albums filled with Marvel and X-Men. But we used to collect the turtle cards that came with bubble gum. Whether it was the cartoon cards or the movie cards. We were all over that stuff. Yeah, fully immersed ourselves in collecting.
I used to have like as a kid we had like Garbage Gang. The Garbage Gang and Garbage Pail Kids, which became Garbage Gang. They changed the name, and then they had Batman Returns, Ninja Turtles cartoon, Ninja Turtles live action movie, and what else? A few other movie stuff. But I used to have like the sets of a whole bunch of it, just from trading and buying for school and trading doubles, swaps at recess. And I had the sets of those on Simpsons. I had the Simpsons set as well. I had all of them up till about 2 years ago, and I had them sitting around. And I went, I don't really like cards anymore. I'm just going to give them away to some other collectors and go away some folks online that are in toy groups and other stuff, and said, "Do you want these?" postage price, and off they went.
Well, I mean, some of them still have
trying to move the stuff.
It's good if you can give them to people that will appreciat them, so they don't just sort of sit around.
There were people my age that were like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Sure, give me like, I don't know, $5-10 and whatever." Go off they go.
Yeah, nice. Good on you.
But yeah, I enjoyed those.
Cool.
I had they were like, bought them for that chewing gum that tastes like bloody chalk. and you
It was
get them for like
chalky.
40 cents, 50 cents, and there'd be
Yeah.
doubles in the pack, and it's like, come on, the doubles in the one pack. Like,
Yeah, exactly, in the one pack,
Yeah.
and the chalky gum would shatter like glass.
Yeah, it would go.
It wasn't very tasty. It was supposed to be like a strawberry flavor,
it's
but
terrible.
garbage.
But
But
you
yeah,
can't
I would
spend
hate
your money
it.
on Bubba when you got trading cards to buy. Just,
Hate it when I got a double of the same bloody thing.
yeah. And then the X-Men ones, I used to go to the comic shop, and I was like a kind of window shopper at the comic shop for a couple of years. I wasn't buying the new stuff. I'd go in just to look at stuff with a friend.
Yeah.
And they hit the dollar bins, and I'd get random issues of Spider-Man from the 90s. And then one day I decided to buy, they had the set of X-Men, I think it was Flair 94 or 95 X-Men, and the art was really cool with painted artwork and stuff.
Yeah.
And you could buy the whole set for like 50 or 60 bucks instead of buying all the packets, because I think it was the previous years at that time when I got it, so it was the old year. And one day I decided I wanted to buy that, and I had that for several years, and I had the big folder and all the things, and it was cool. And I kept looking through them going, oh, this is cool, X-Men. I'd seen the cartoon. And then one day I'm going, why am I buying pictures of comic book characters? Why don't I buy some actual comic books? It just kind of went off my head one day. I'm like, buying pictures of comic books, like buy actual comic books.
True.
So I started buying just all Spider-Man right through the 90s and that. But I used to read stuff from the store. I'd read anything on the shelf, like Batman, X-Men, whatever was there. And the owners are pretty good. Like, you were buying stuff, and they didn't mind people would go in and just browse stuff and read it while they're there.
Yeah, but there was a pretty heavy don't read the comic in the store at the comic shop that I went to. They were pretty adamant that you don't, which was weird. But so everything was always bagged, and if you open up a bag to take the comic out, they expected that you were going to buy that comic.
I think these ones usually on the new stuff was on the shelf, and once it had been the next week, it would be on the board on the thing. But I've been going there so many years. Like, they didn't give us stuff if I pulled stuff out and read it in the store, because I spent so much money there over the years anyway.
So whereabouts was that?
Oh, that was back in New Zealand in Christchurch. It was called Comics Compulsion. Really appropriate name.
There was a place in Perth called Quality Comics. Have you ever been there? I
also went there for 10 years.
So have you been there recently?
It doesn't exist anymore. It's moved down the road, and it's above ground instead of below ground. It's a different store.
Yeah, and it's garbage. Sorry to anyone that works at Quality Comics, but that place used to be
comics there. I've still got the last thing I bought there before they moved. I don't know, sometime in the last 5 or 6 years, they closed probably because of the rent price or whatever, the downstairs store that had been there a long time, which was quite big, and it just got a little boutique up, a ground level one. The last thing I got there was a BPRD trade. That's what's in the Hellboy universe. I bought that there a few years ago, and then the next time I went to the city, which is not more than once a year am I in the city, I was walking down going, where's quality? I'm just going to have a browse, see if there's any good trades while I'm here. I'm going through to do a first aid course when I was there. And I walked down, I went, it's not here. And I went, okay, I've walked around, like when I was a kid in Christchurch, I used to walk and cycle everywhere. I can remember the streets and the position. If the shop changes and they completely tear it down, I know the position exactly where it is or was. And I went, this is a different store. Like when I was a kid back in Christchurch, I went to the video game arcade for like 10, 15 years, pretty much every week. And then you go back there, and I'm like, okay, one day it's a carpet store and all the video games are gone.
It was
but the store was still the same location. So I knew that it had gone. And I walked down the street thinking, oh, that's it. And then I saw it was this other crap shop up the road. They've moved up there, but it was tiny, and half the store was manga comics, which I do buy, but I just buy them online on eBay.
So not only were they mostly manga comics, but they were also they had the cheap reprints instead of having back issues.
Yeah, and Pop Fun, and they used to always have good back issues. I bought heaps of Savage Dragon there.
They had literally stacks of back issues. If I wanted to go in there and pick up an old Avengers, that's where you went. You went to Quality Comics. So I remember when I first moved to Perth,
the one in Christchurch, they always had several years worth of back issues.
Right. I mean, I picked up so many gaps in my collection thanks to Quality Comics. But when I first moved to Perth, there was a TV ad for Quality Comics, which was absolutely, it was off the charts. They had like they even had Lobo saying these ain't your daddy's comic books, fanboy. And then I was like, oh my god, I've got to go there. So it's the first time I've ever lived in a big city because we lived in
all the posters on the wall as you go down, all the cool stuff.
Yeah, it was just go down into that dark and dingy den of comics. The smell of it, it was just the best. It was the best experience. And then I went back like literally last year. I was like, oh man, where is it gone? And then I found the new place, and it's not quality at all. It was heartbreaking.
You're not going to see any goth girls and punks and alternative-looking people in there.
Oh, it was so sad. I literally saw Phantom comics in here. That's how far down they slid.
Yeah.
Just sad. Just bloody sad.
Yeah, I was like, when I saw the other shop, I'm like, just close it and
just
sell on
close
or something.
Yeah, just have an online store. This is not worth it. And I think the guy saw my disappointment. He goes, "Oh, you're from the old days." Yeah, yeah.
I used to go and buy. This will be around 2002, 2003. I was going there for like a number of about 5-8 years, and then there was a gap where I moved out of state and come back. But I was buying Spider-Man for years. I was buying Punisher, and there was a Garth Ennis run. I used to have the full run of that, which I got rid of. But then I bought it all again years later in trade, so it worked out. I used to buy a whole heap of. I was up to about 8 or 10 monthly books at one point. I was just buying all sorts, and I was buying trades and reading, checking out dollar books.
Yeah, because even the big dollar books were filling gaps in the collection. It was.
Oh,
it was
did you see?
Stuff.
Around 2003, 2004. Also, a store opened a couple of minutes just up the road from the original quality called Empire Collectibles.
Empire. Yeah.
It was all import action figures. It was everything. It was all the old McFarlanes and the horror stuff and the anime things.
Anything that I couldn't get from quality comics, I got from Empire.
12, 18-inch Bruce Lee I bought for like $100 from there, where he comes in like
Have
cloth outfits.
Have you seen what's there now?
Oh, that one's been gone for years and years, but I have no idea what's in that shop now.
So Empire changed locations. It was in 2 different locations.
It used to be run by Christine and Darren would have like Weird Al music videos often playing when I went to, and I started talking to him and go, I like Weird Al. He's like, I've been to the concerts. He'd been to the concerts of Weird Al. He didn't just like him, he'd seen him.
So it was was the one that you went to upstairs?
No, it was a ground level.
Okay, so there was
a few years back I saw another thing that had all mostly pop vinyls and crap in there, and that was an upstairs thing. I think it actually had like a Japanese name or something like that.
Yes, that used to be Empire.
I wasn't sure the first I went, because this was like so many years ago after I'd been out of state for like 5 or 6 years and came back, and I was trying to figure out if it was the same building or not.
Yeah, the Empire expanded basically. They went because they needed more space, because that's basically where I was getting all my Transformers from, the vinyl tech stuff and the alternators. And if I couldn't get it at Quality Comics, I'd check out both. I would catch the train into the city, go down Hay Street, check out Empire and Quality Comics. I could not walk fast enough to get to those places. And then recently,
and that time I lived in Northbridge for 2 years, so I just walk over there like at least once or twice a week and look at everything.
Were you able to check out Toys R Us while it was there? Because that was a pretty decent city.
Oh yeah, that's right. There used to be one in the Hay Street Mall. That used to be there. They had I remember seeing the first ever Masterpiece toy. It was Optimus Prime. It wasn't called Masterpiece, and it was just the fancy Optimus Prime. But it was they call it MP1 now, but it was a big Optimus Prime. That was cool. Yeah. And there used to be
I got that one.
There used to be a girl that worked at the counter who was into Cabbage Patch Kids, as in vintage ones, and she was younger than me. But I mean, I was only like 25. She was probably like 20, but it seemed like a bigger age gap when you're then. And I would just talk to her because she would always have like a shaved head and piercings and shit. And she saw I was always looking at the action figures. She's like, "What are you into?" I'm into this. I said, "What are you into?" She's into like vintage Cabbage Patch Kids and other stuff.
So I used to get a lot of Star Wars from Toys R Us. I was really big into Star Wars. But there was another
McFarlane in there for a while too. But then he was in, he had the contract, and then he got booted out of there again.
Ah, right. I know that there was one more place I couldn't remember. That was sort of like out of the way and tucked around in a corner somewhere. And that had some comics and some toys and stuff. But I can't remember what that one was.
Don't think I've seen it.
It's probably not there now anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, those particularly in the 90s, and then leading into the early 2000s was when it was at its best.
Yeah, sure.
And then
they had heaps of stuff.
Yeah. Oh.
I remember going in, like, seeing the stores was just like stocked to the roof, like every aisle of stuff.
Well, I went and had a look around the city just for old time's sake, and it was just depressing. Everything was shut. Everything was shut. A lot of the pubs were, a bit garbage, or weren't even open anymore. It was a bit sad. Really.
They keep like getting rid of the bays where like trucks that got to deliver stuff in the city. They get rid of them, and trucks can't stop anywhere because I've got several mates that have drive trucks and told me about how annoying it is. What a stupid thing to do in the city for small deliveries of that.
Yeah, that is dumb. I will tell you something that they did do to the city, which I thought was good, was they created that walkway for pedestrians near where the Horseshoe Bridge was, or is. Before then, it was difficult to get into Northbridge.
Yeah, I know. So I walked every other day. I walked up back and forth along there.
All right, yeah. So it was if you've gone out on a night on the old shots and beers and hanging out with Monty Moose, trying to navigate back to the train station to try and try to get the last train out of the city back home. Oh man, yeah, it was you were dodging traffic half the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for that stroll down memory lane.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Yeah, it was good stuff. I don't know if anyone is watching this I'm sure people are watching this. However, I don't know if anyone is here watching this because I've said, hey, come and watch this. If you are here because of my recommendation, please subscribe to Johnny. He's an absolute legend. I consider him a good friend. Yeah, we appreciate it. So yeah, like it, and subscribe. It's good fun.
Thanks, Hazel. It's been awesome. And my advice is stick around. Maybe do some other chats later in the year, talk about some toys or movies or some other junk. Who knows? Yeah,
I'd be happy to. We were also going to invite you over to shoot the shit with me and Gaz. That's a morning show, though, so we'll have to work it out how we can do it. Yeah. But we definitely want to have you hang out with us more.
Cool.
Just because you're good company, mate. We appreciate you.
Yeah, it's rare I get to meet someone that's actually been in. I mean, I've lived in a few places, and you've been here and there and everywhere, man.
Well, I just like hanging out with good guys, and gals, guys and gals. But this is definitely one of my favorite places to hang. So I appreciate you inviting me back.
Anytime. It's been an honor and a privilege. And I'll say thank you to you. And I'm going to play the outro to the show in a moment. So I'll say good night or good morning and good afternoon, good evening, good night, good luck to all you crazy cats out there.